Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. We're actually going to review one of my absolute favorite beers ever. It is a malt bomb, so if you're a hop head, this might not interest you, but it's a very Christmassy beer. I plan on releasing this Christmas Eve 2019, and yeah, really excited. Every year I look forward to drinking one of these. Do have proper glassware, so that always makes beer taste better. But what it is it's Samichlaus, and it's from 2009, so it's actually been aged 10 years. I have two bottles of the 2009. I have other vintages. My local beer store just got 2016s in, and I'll be definitely grabbing a 4-pack of that next time I go. So yeah, Samichlaus, they call it a malt liquor, 11.2 fluid ounces. It's 14% alcohol, and produced in Castle Brewery, Eggenberg, which is in Austria. Brewed only once a year on December 6th, Samichlaus is aged for 10 months before bottling. This specialty is perhaps the rarest in the world. Samichlaus may be aged for many years to come. Older vintages become more complex with a creamy, warming finish. This is right off the shelf, so it's 60 degrees. I am the one who wax sealed it. I probably, when I waxed it, the wax wasn't quite where it needed to be, so I had to wax it a couple times based on how ridiculous it looks. Probably should have pre-cut this a little bit because it's going to be... It's like when you do mystery beers, and the best part is watching the person open up, like take all the tape off and everything. All right, I'm getting there. Oh, yeah, okay. No, I know exactly what happened. Duh, that makes sense. So the first time I ever wax sealed, I hadn't seen anyone ever do it, and I used an old candle, unscented, and that's not a good kind of wax to use for wax sealing. And that's underneath this, and then when I figured out how to buy regular bottle wax, I did it over that. So that's why it was so gnarly looking. Anyway, let's get into it. All right. Yeah, I looked out years ago. I was in Buffalo, probably like 5 years ago, and we were visiting my wife's friends up there. A bunch of dead yeast at the bottom, you can see. Um, and they're like, "Hey, we should, you're a beer guy. We should go to this cool beer place." And they had not a ton of glasses, but they randomly had some Samichlaus, and I'd never seen one, so I actually grabbed two just in case one breaks. So, hey, I finally have clean glassware. It is crazy dark brown. There is red crimson at the bottom, but yeah, it's a very, very brown beer with some red throughout. No head. It's like a giant donut hole, basically. Like, yeah, what you guys are seeing around the glass, sure, there's still like a little bit of this somewhat off-white approaching khaki head, but dead center there's nothing. So yeah, definitely not an overly a luscious head, but yeah, it definitely looks like it should in that big, like, old ale barley wine, quad kind of a sweet malty beer. Definitely seeing some legs sticking to the side. Not surprising for 14%. Let's get into the aroma. Uh-oh. Getting some soy sauce out of it, which is very... I associate that with something like a Dark Lord, not this beer necessarily. Then there's actually a really nice sherry note, a little bit of port wine as well, dried fruits. But there is this like somewhat smoky soy sauce thing for sure. A very ripe plum. Kiss of alcohol. As I'm smelling it more, I'm getting more things than the soy sauce, so I'm hopeful about the taste. Is it vanilla frosting? There's another thing I recognize, but I'm having a hard time putting it to what it actually is. Oh, but smells good. That soy sauce I'd like to dial back a little bit, but let's see about the taste. Cheers. Taste is great. It's so good. The soy sauce, not present, but way, way, way in the finish, or towards the finish, I should say. There's a slight peaty, smoky quality, and that's probably what that, or at least part of that aroma actually is. When I'm done doing this, I'm literally going to make stir fry for dinner, and so maybe soy sauce is just kind of my mind, but like it's more of a smoky, peaty thing, at least in the taste. I won't change what I thought about the aroma. In a lot of ways, it is this big liquid bread for sure. It's quite fruity. Even as I'm talking, I'm still getting like fruit notes, cherries, dried fruits like raisins, maybe even like some dried cranberries like craisins. And there is this very bready, yeasty, like I kind of like, what I need to do is explore bread some more, and kind of, I've just been a boring like wheat bread kind of guy lately, and I need to kind of like branch out and go to like a bakery, get some different styles, because it's very reminiscent of a bread. It's not sourdough, it's nothing like that crazy, but like a bran, or it makes me think of like a darker colored bread for sure. Since it's been a while since I've had a sip, I'm going to take another sip and tell some more of the stuff I get throughout. There's a little bit of alcohol towards the finish, and then into the finish, but it's definitely overpowering for 14%. Slight warmth. And again, all those dried fruits. It's not medicinal. It's like syrupy. That makes more sense. It's syrupy. It coats your mouth, but it's not. It's not as it's sweet. It's definitely sweet, but it's not. I'm not reducing this and pouring it over ice cream or something either, although I bet that'd be delicious. So as syrupy as it is, it's not cloyingly sweet. It's not off-putting, at least for my palate. And I say this a lot with these kinds of bigger malty beers. It's a weird descriptor. It would make sense to me to have some cinnamon in this beer. Like whatever this has in it makes me long for a dash of cinnamon. I don't think it really has a cinnamony quality, but I would like. I'm drawn to that. If I was a chef or a baker and this was my product, I'd be like, I should sprinkle a little cinnamon on it. It's, I almost like grape juice, but I'm going plum juice. It reminds me of, I've had some plum wines, and that's what it is. It's more that, there's the peaty smokiness. That's so good. It's so good. Yeah, because like in a really nice quad, I get a very grapey quality. I was just on the Nerd Sense channel's holiday special, and we did St. Bernardus from 2000. What was it? Was it? I forget. Wait, 2015, whatever the year was. My bad, guys. I'm sorry, I forgot already. And I put it out there. I'm like, I get grape. And then they're like, no, yeah, for sure, like you get grape. And I think, and not that that's technically a quad, but the Christmas St. Bernardus, but I typically get on a quad. This is more plum wine. If you've ever had plum wine, like, and you drink this, I think you'll agree, like, yep, that is specifically that thing. I was listening, speaking of quads, not to go off on a tangent for a sec, the Steal This Beer podcast with Augie Carton from Carton Brewing, and John Hall. John Hall, who's a beer writer, he has a new podcast, Think Beer, Drink Beer, I believe is the name of it. I've listened to 2 episodes of the Firestone Walker one and the one where he interviewed Augie. And they got talking, they do on Steal This Beer, blind beers. Like the guests will bring 2 beers, they are poured away from them into dark glasses so they can't even look at it, they just smell and drink and give their thoughts. They start talking about Westy 12, and here's where I can connect it to this. And they've had those brought in before, and it's just the 4 core ingredients, and how complex that beer can be. And I know some people, don't like to use the word complex when you're talking about beer. It doesn't bother me as long as you explain why it's complex, what are the complexities of it. And here's how it relates to this specifically. And I agree 100% with these guys. As you drink a Westie, it's hard to do a review of that because I shut the camera off. I keep drinking it. It keeps evolving right in that same glass. You have reminiscent things, similar things, new things, things that were lighter come across more. The opposite, it was a punch early, then it dies down a little bit. And the same is going to be true of this beer. I'm not going to keep drinking it on camera. It would either be like an hour and a half, because that's how long I plan on nursing this. So I'm not doing that. But that's what I'm getting now, but it will definitely change over time. And if I wasn't making dinner and I have some company coming over too, maybe I would have come back and done like, hey, here's the beer towards the end. But this is going to be one of those beers that I'm going to keep getting similar things that I was getting. I'm going to get new stuff. Stuff's going to die down. Stuff's going to come and perk back up. But man, if you like malty beers, you need to do yourself a favor. I'm so grateful early on my craft beer days, and I'm talking very early, 2009, early, a buddy of mine, Brendan, was like, he came over to my house and he's like, a really big beer guy. He's like, hey, you need to try this beer. I'm like, I've never heard this beer. He's like, it's one of my favorite beers. And I tried it. I'm instantly like, this is like nothing I've ever had, and it's one of the best beers I've ever had. Just such a good beer. That smoky, peaty thing, and and again, this very faint alcohol, especially after 10 years. And that, whatever that dark, what I'll call brand bread, how that balances out the sweetness is so pleasant. It's so pleasant. I love this beer every year. Do you like this beer? I hope you do. I really of the beers I review and talk about every year, this is the one I would try to sell people on. I don't typically try to sell people on beers. I'll say, oh, this is really good, and it's been a while since I think I've really said like, go and buy this beer. Try this beer for sure. It's so delicious. Besides checking out this beer, check me out on Instagram and Untappd. No Hype Beer reviews at both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.